What's up everyone, Adam from Cape Crawlers, and today we're taking a look at the TRX4M Overland build. So we've done a ton of content on the TRX4M Bronco, but we haven't really featured the Defender. So that's what we're going to do in this video. We're going to dive into my son's TRX4M Defender Overland build. So how this build really came to be was that Injora, in the early stages of the TRX4M after its release, was really cranking out the upgrades. Seemed like week after week after week, they were just putting out upgrades for these things. And I was buying them and buying them and buying them. And a lot of it went on the Defender. And it kind of turned into this overland style build because that's what my son likes to do. He likes to hook the trailer up to it. You know, when Traxxas released the cargo trailer with this thing, he was all about it. So he loved hooking the trailer up to it, driving around the yard, driving around the house. He's got snacks, he's got toys in it. It's a lot of fun. So we decided to kind of expand on that and make it into an overland build. The Defender itself, to me, is a great overlander because it's got such an awesome scale look to it. It's got this big muscular body to it, the cargo racks, the accessories on it already right from the factory. It just looks fantastic. It is a little more top heavy, so it's not going to crawl as well as the Bronco does, which is why I think I'm naturally drawn towards the Bronco. My son digs the Defender because it's just right up his alley. So today we're going to take a look at the Defender. We're going to do a deeper dive into this overland build. I'm going to show you all the parts that are on it. We're going to do this just like we usually do with my build overviews. We're going to do this in 3 parts. We're going to look at the appearance and the aesthetics. We're going to look at the chassis and the suspension. We're going to look at the drivetrain. And then we're going to get out and run this thing. We're going to get you some good run footage of it and have some fun. So let's jump in here. We'll kick this off with the appearance. Now, one of the coolest things about the TRX4M is the appearance, especially the Defender. Like I said, it just has this very cool scale, muscular look to it. Just looks fantastic right out of the box. And with Traxxas giving us this cargo trailer option as well, the combination just makes for a lot of fun and a really cool overland trail rig. So that's what we've done with this one. So let's take a look at the exterior of this thing and the appearance. So first and foremost, let's look at the wheels and tires. We've got the Injora green beadlock wheels. Green is my son's favorite color, so that's why there's a green theme all throughout this. This has the new 62mm all-terrain tires on it. These are the new super sticky S5 compound tires that Injora released earlier this year. Great tire, fits really well on the TRX4M, the Defender in particular. I think this wheel and tire combination is just super gnarly. Looks great on here. We've got some 3D printed accessories here. So I've got the window guards here. These are from Adaptive Designs. Up top, we've got the cargo accessories. We've got the elastic cargo net, and we've got a barrel. We've got some hard cases here. We've got some traction mats. So just some cool accessories to go on the roof here. In the back, we've pretty much left it alone. You know, the Defender comes with the high lift jack, and it's got the jerry cans here. We did add a fire extinguisher on here, and this actually came with this accessory kit. We opted to just attach it to the side here. Axel thought that would be a cool feature, and I gotta admit, I think it looks pretty cool. This also has the Pro Scale Light Kit, which I think is an awesome addition from Traxxas. It just gives this more super scale realism. It's got the headlights in the front and the working taillights and reverse lights in the back, which I think is super cool. On our trailer here, we've also expanded the accessories a little bit. My son is obviously very fire conscious, so we've got another fire extinguisher here on the trailer. And then we mounted some additional jerry cans over here as well. And again, this came with the accessory kit that we got. The whole thing together just looks really great. I think of the trailer and the overland gear, the window protectors. It just gives it a really just tough, cool, capable look to it. I love how this thing looks. So it's come along really well, and I really, really enjoy it. Haven't done much else to it from an aesthetic standpoint with the mirrors and the snorkel and everything that Traxxas has put on this from the factory. It had a really good starting point. So just adding the scale accessories on the roof rack and the small things that we did really kind of brought this thing to life, I feel. So now let's move on. We'll check out the chassis and suspension. So the chassis and suspension is really where a lot of the meat of the upgrades are on this thing. So you can see this is running the carbon fiber LCG chassis kit from Injora. This is a new addition to the build and a new release from Injora at the time of this recording. So I put this on here. I like it because it gives you the multitude of shock positions so that you can really tune your ride height, tune your suspension geometry and things like that. And it also just seems to work better on the Defender. I had this on my budget build Bronco and I was having a really hard time getting it to fit with that body. But it seems to fit without any issues and perfectly on the TRX4M Defender. So it's a good fit on this build, and it's probably where it will stay. This is also running the new Injora oil-filled shocks. These are a brand new addition to this build. I just got them a couple days ago and just put them on this morning. So I'm still kind of fine-tuning them, but I like these shocks a lot. They came oil-filled. They've got a good feel to them right out of the package. How I set this up is that I did put the stiffer springs that come with them. It comes with 2 spring rates. And because the Defender is pretty heavy in the back with the spare tire and the cargo accessories that we have, I put the stiffer spring in the back, and then I had to pretty heavily adjust the preload here. Now I could mess with the shock position to tune that a little bit more, which I might do, and I have the option to do so here. So it's just nice to have that ability. It's nice to have a good aftermarket shock that mimics the oil-filled kind of smoothness that the Traxxas GTM shocks offer from the factory. They set the bar pretty high with those shocks, and these ones from Injora work really well, I feel. So up front, it's got a 3D printed steering link. This is from Joe RC's, and this is a nice link because it just raises up the linkage here so you get additional clearance. It's worked great, so I haven't felt the need to change it. We've got lots of brass here. I've got brass knuckles, brass C-hubs, brass diff covers, all these from Injora. Like I said, I've just bought and piled on all of the Injora upgrades as they were coming out, and gold is another one of my son's favorite colors. So the gold and the green appearance, he really digs it. So we got the brass diff cover in the back as well. For a steering servo, it doesn't have the stock blue one, if you probably noticed. This has the Traxxas metal gear optional upgrade for these, which is actually pretty expensive. It was about $40, I think, for the Traxxas upgraded servo, but it's lasted a good long time, and we needed it in the pinch. So when the blue one, the original stock one, stripped out, which it did very quickly, I threw in the Traxxas metal version, and it's lasted quite a bit now. For linkage, I'm running the stock upper links, but I've got 3D printed lower links, and these were actually made by a subscriber. Thanks, Gramps, for sending me over these. I've had these again since the Traxxas TRX4M was first released. I got these very early on, and I've been using them ever since. They are rugged and functional, so they work really well. So I think that's pretty much it for chassis and suspension. Let's move on to the drivetrain. Now the drivetrain in this is pretty much all stock. We had the high-speed gear set in here, again because my son loves to go fast and rip around the house and the yard and things, but they were actually too fast, we felt. And I've got a video on those from a few weeks back if you want to check that out and see exactly how fast they are. But it was so fast that this thing would just dump over sideways when he was turning it at speed. So it just was too much, so we backed it back out and are running the stock gears in this. Still have the stock brushed motor in here. What we have done though is replaced the CV style stock drive shafts with these new Injora steel units that have the D style connector. I like these a lot because one, they're steel, they're nice and strong, but you also eliminate the point of failure that the stock drive shafts have with the O-ring that goes around here and retains the pin for the CV style shaft. Now we don't have any risk of scraping that O-ring off on rocks or anything like that and losing our drive shaft components on the trail. These are just a bulletproof U-joint style that work really well, and the D-style connections and things just make it a lot easier to assemble these. So I like these drive shafts a lot. A new addition that we've put on here just recently is the brand new aluminum axle housings from Injora. Now these are super clean, beautiful looking pieces of hardware on here. I really dig these axle housings. They look great. Fit and finish was excellent. Installation was super easy. So these are really nice. I'm pretty jealous that he has these on his build. I might have to get some more of these for mine. But these are really, really sharp. When I've got the thing apart, the things I do is swap out the bushings for bearings. I did that in here. Also put in the metal gears. Still got the stock ratios, but I always upgrade to the metal differential gears if I've got the opportunity to do so. But that's really it for this thing, for the drivetrain. It was pretty much stock except for these cool new aluminum and steel pieces from Injora that we've put on here for form and function. So one of the things I want to do before we take this thing out on the trails and show you some run footage, I want to get this on our setup table to do some performance baseline measurements to just kind of see where this thing is at. Let's start with some articulation. Let's check out the Ramp Travel Index, the RTI. I think that's about at our max here, which is right about 17, which is in the ready to crawling section here, according to the Crawler Park RTI ramp. This is actually pretty good because if you've seen my Bronco budget build, I don't think we got that far with the Bronco. Let's try the back. Yeah, again, so right around 16, maybe 16 and a half looks like on our RTI for the back. So I'm impressed with the articulation that we've got out of this thing. So next let's try the side hilling. This is what I'm particularly interested in given the top heavy nature of the Defender. I'm anxious to see if the weight we've added down low makes a measurable impact here. So let's try the side hill. It's 30, 35, starting to unload. It's 40. I'd say 40 is about it. Now let's try the vertical. This is going to be interesting as well. Oh, I slid right off there. Hang on. There's 40. Oh, slid off again. So that's one of the things with the Crawler Park table. Parts that hold the wheels are not very big. So let me see if I can adjust this. Right, so what I've done here is I've turned the rig on. I'm put it in crawl mode to use the drag brake. Let's see if I can do this simultaneously here. You probably hear the ESC whine only because I'm trying to hold it with the transmitter. It's 30. It's 40. It's 45. Starting to unload there. Oh, 50 I think is it at the tipping point. And last thing we're going to do is weigh it. Let's get it on the scale here. The Defender's heavy, 732 grams. So we have a special guest appearance by the man of the hour here. Tell us about your Defender, buddy. Do you like it?
Yeah.
You like it a lot? What's your favorite part?
The fire extinguisher.
You like the fire extinguishers, right? Right there?
Yeah.
And you even put some on the trailer, right?
Right.
Yep, we like those. What else?
And the accessories on there.
Mm-hmm.
On the roof rack.
Yep. Like the ones on the top?
Yeah.
Yep, very cool. So before we get out and run this thing, let's recap the performance numbers here. Now, I didn't do stock measurements on the Defender, so I'm going to benchmark this against our budget build Bronco. So the RTI score for the Defender was a 17. The Bronco was a 16 and a quarter. So we actually got more articulation, more flex out of your Defender. The side hill was 40 degrees compared to 46 degrees for the Bronco. So the top heaviness of the Defender did hurt it a little bit on the side hill. Same thing with the vertical. So the vertical on the Defender was 50 degrees compared to 58 degrees with the Bronco. And finally, the weight. The weight on this thing, this is a heavy girl. She came in at 732 grams compared to 576 for the Bronco.
You mean boy.
A heavy boy, sorry. So those are the performance numbers. Like I said, I didn't benchmark it against a stock one, but that at least gives you some idea of how this thing stacks up against a similarly modified Bronco. Now, do you want to take this thing out and run it?
Mm-hmm.
Cool, let's go hit the trails and get some run footage.
Yeah.
Side to side, high and low, low and high, try
That's going to wrap it up for the Defender video. I hope you enjoyed this one. This was a lot of fun. This was the most time that I've spent with the Defender since we've got it. Axel actually let me drive it for a fair amount of time out on the trails, and I gotta say I really enjoyed it. It just makes a lot of sense out there. Super fun to watch it crawling around and going through the trails. It's really at home on those trails, going over the roots and the rocks and things. Just a blast watching it go around and do its thing. It did decent on the rocks over at Snap City. Definitely top heavy though, so it could definitely shed some weight on the top from the rack. But all in all, it did really well and I had a blast driving it. But let me know your thoughts down below. What do you think of the Defender, and if you want to see more Defender content? Happy to dive into this build a little more, expand upon it, or maybe I should just build a rock crawling Defender and kind of explore that route, see what we can get out of it in that regards. But definitely let me know. I want to hear from you guys. I'll put the links in the description down below for all the products that are on this Defender as well if you want to check them out. And as always, I appreciate your time. Thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't done so, and I will see you in the next video.